Hi everyone. I just wanted to send another quick video update to update you on some of the progress that I made over the last week on changing some of these things. And actually, the first thing you'll notice here is the change to the home page here. The icons themselves didn't look too bad jumbled up together when there were only, five or six of them. But now that we've gotten way past that, it was getting very complicated and hard to find things unless you knew exactly where it was. So I've split them out a little bit more based on kind of what they do. And so that should make it a little bit easier to find things and, mess around with the system and go through stuff. I'm sure that we'll probably change this again, and this probably won't be the final look before we're done, but it should suffice for now. And again, if you have any feedback on these, please let me know. I'm happy to change any of it. Um, some of the major changes that I've been working on this week deal with the sponsor and hotel admin pages, because those were kind of jumbled up before. They had a lot of good information on them, but they were really hard to navigate. So based on our meeting last week, I made some changes to make these a little bit better to go through. So let's take a look at the hotel pages first. Go here first. One other thing you'll notice on these pages, I did the same thing with the sponsor ones as well. I noticed during our meeting that everyone kept trying to click on the names of these to go there. Now they do that exactly. So either the magnifying glass or the link right here will do the same exact thing and take you to the info page. Again, just to make things a little bit easier, more intuitive for people. All right, so now we're at the hotel page. And you'll see here, instead of the big, huge mess of information we had before, now it's not more tightly condensed here. Few components to look at. The first thing is this top bar right here. So we've just got the hotel name and their address right here. And then I added a handful of fields over here that I thought would be good for quick information. So the hotel ID, how many rooms they have, the contact person, their phone number, fax, and email. If you think any of these are not needed up here, because everything on here is in the general information tab as well. But if you think any of these things are not needed or think you want different things up here, just let me know. These are really easy to add and manipulate this area. This area over to the right, this toolbar, has a lot of other good information in it. If the hotel has any open workflows, so any work is being done on it, whether it's just regular service work or contract work or anything like that, those will show up right over here. So that's one of the first things you'll see when you look at the hotel record. And you can click on the magnifying glass to view the individual workflow record right here. Down below that, we've got their current sponsor listed. So you can, again, click there, view the sponsor information right from there. You can also view the sponsorship history. So if this hotel has had multiple sponsors or the same sponsor has sponsored it multiple times with different dates, they'll all show up here in this history tab. So you'll always be able to look at a hotel and see what sponsors it's had a relationship with in the past. And then finally down here, we've got their current contract. This one does not currently have one, nor does it have a contract history, it looks like. But if they do, and as they start to rack those up, that information will all be held right in here. So it should be a quick glance for you to see what's right there. All right, so those are the information tabs. These ones are going to remain static. They'll update if you add anything, but this is pretty much how they're always going to look. Now, these tabs here, this is where the most of the information in your functions are going to be found at. This is called an accordion menu, which means that things open up and close as you click the titles here. So all you got to click is this top bar, and it will open and close. The default behavior for this is to only leave one open at a time and close as you open them. But per our meeting, I've made it so you can have multiple ones open at a time. It doesn't care how many you have open at a time. And then you can close each one individually if you want. All right, so let's just go through these here real quick. They all function the same way that they did before with the buttons and everything, but I've replaced them with these little green clickable buttons now instead, just to sort of show up on these pages. But you'll see we've got all the general information in this tab. If we click edit here, we'll get a little pop-up with all the same info, and we can change any of it if we want to, and it will automatically update throughout there. You'll see right there, it tells me it's updated even though I didn't change anything, I just saved it. The next one is the users. So any users that we've got tied to this, these would be users that can log in. Now we don't have any login functions built for them yet. So mainly the main purpose of this would be if you want to email them or just separate people out for the hotel that might one day be able to log in or something if we build that. But all the users are right here. We can click and manage them and do all sorts of stuff and add new users, edit, delete, all sorts of stuff from there. I will say one thing, I've converted everything to these tabs, but one thing that I have not finished doing yet is moving some of the functions out of the dialogues. So for example, right here you can view this person, view their information. When you click here, you can delete them. What I'm probably going to do is move this delete function out of here and onto the main table, and then instead of manage users, this will probably say add new user. So I'd like to try to minimize the paths to do that as much as we can and get rid of any redundant or useless clicking that we have to do. So that has to be done on a lot of these still. But that shouldn't be any issue. All the code is written and just needs to be moved around basically to new spots. All right, next we've got message history. This is going to keep track of any emails that you send the hotel through the system. So any of those that are ever on here are going to be kept in a history. We also have the button here where we can email the hotel, and we can either send a new message or we can click and use any one of the templates that we've set up previously. All right, after that we've got files. So this is going to hold any files that you upload directly to the hotel. It's also going to hold anything that you export. So if you were to export a contract or an agreement or anything like that, it's going to be held in this area as well. We've got workflows down here, and you see we've got the workflows over here, and we've got 2 and 2 in both spots. The main difference between these ones is that in the toolbar over here, we're only going to show open ones. So any completed ones are not going to show up in this area because we don't need to know about those. But in this part here, it is going to keep track of all that. So whether it's completed or in progress or anything, they're going to show up in this table, so you can search them and then view the workflow if you want to. So again, this will just keep track of all of your history. Courtesy calls are the next one we've got down here. And you'll also see here in the parentheses, we've got the number of each of these that it catalogs. So you'll be able to see really quickly that, okay, this hotel has 1 user, 0 messages, 0 files, 2 workflows, and 6 courtesy calls. So that's just a quick way for you to look at this at a glance when all the tabs are closed and see what's in there. If we look at the courtesy calls, though, we've got our next courtesy call scheduled for this date, and it's going to show up on all of them like that. Then here's the phone number, and then we can look at the whole call log right down here. And then finally down here, we've got agreements. This hotel doesn't have any yet, but if it did, they would show up in the table down here and we could view them. But here we can also manage agreements and do anything else we need to, and it doesn't have any here still. All right, so that's pretty much how the hotel information page looks right now. One thing that I'm going to add to this for sure is going to be an item count. So we're gonna have a tab down here for items. What that is going to do is it's going to keep track of all of the different items that have been provided to this hotel, whether it's stands or key cards or laminated sheets or anything like that. It's going to keep track of that, and it's going to do that through ones that have been added to contracts and then ones that have been added through service work. So I still have to write all the functions to collect all those together, but I do have something to show you with the contracts that we'll get to in a little bit. All right, and that's pretty much all we've got for the hotel look. Let's go over to the sponsors now and just take a look at those. They're going to follow the same basic format, and you can see here I've done the same thing with the names to be clickable. So you'll see here, same basic format, just a different color here. The top bar is still just going to have general information up here. The right bar, though, is only going to have current contracts right here. So if it doesn't have a current contract, nothing else is going to show up in here. But any current contracts are going to show up right here just for some quick information. So you can click the view button and view the PDF of the contract real quick if you'd like. Oops. And then you see the effective and expiration dates. You see if it was a renewal or new sale or outright purchase or not. And then we give you the price per room and the overall total. Any other information that you need added to the contract stuff, just let me know. I have pretty much, since we're calling this and pulling these in, I have pretty much all the information we need. So if you'd like to see anything just right up front, just let me know. All right, so let's go through these ones. General information tab, pretty much the exact same as the hotel one. You can click and edit it right there. Users, also going to be exactly the same as the hotels. These ones are just going to be users that are tied to the sponsor instead. Message history is right here. You see this one actually has quite a few of them. So it's going to tell you when and if they were sent. So these ones have not been sent, but these ones were sent on these dates. Here's the subject of them. Here's the attachments. And then you can just click and view any of these if you want to. And that's going to be the whole content of the email. I should also point out, too, that pretty much all of these tabs use this table with the search. This search is great. It will search across all of these columns for anything you type in. So, for example, if you want to search based on attachment name, if I type in BARR, it's only going to show up that one. So it's going to look across all of these different ones. Or if I wanted to find stuff that was sent on, April, I can type that in. It's only going to show me messages that were sent in April. Or we can do the same thing with 2015. Only going to pull up 2015 messages or where that shows up. So it's a really, really versatile search tool. I really recommend using this a lot on these. And like I said, I try to put it on as much as possible to make it really easy for you to search through stuff quickly. You can also just click on any of the titles here and reorder them alphabetically by whatever is on here. All right. Files we've got after that. Same thing with files on here, any ones that are added here. And then I'm going to move the edit and delete functions down into this menu as well. Contracts are going to be right here. I have yet to write this part, but this one is going to be written later along with the agreements. Neither one of these have pulled in information yet, but I'm going to be working on those this week to get content into there. Locations are right here. So any locations that we've added directly to the sponsor are going to show up right in here. And you'll be able to view, and then I'll move the edit and delete functions out into here as well. And then finally on here, we've got hotels. So these are going to be all the hotels that are added directly to the sponsor at the moment. And just one thing I wanted to point out, oops, I don't know what to do. Last week, Chris, we were looking at adding hotels to contracts and couldn't figure out how to change the location. You actually set the location in here, and this is when they're added here. So you would pick the location right here, and then that's what it's going to use in the contract. If you need me to, I can definitely write an override where you can tie it to a different location in the contract than it's tied to for the sponsor. But I would recommend, if we can, to try to use this one. This will just make sure all the data is clean and we know where it's all coming from. All right, so that's the hotels there. Like I said, I'll be adding the contracts and the agreements sections later on, and I'll probably add a few more sections to this as well with any additional sponsor information that we get. But that's going to be the basics of it. So that's pretty much all I've got for the design of both of those two pages. I'm probably going to continue to polish it a little bit more, but like I said, for the most part, I think this area is done now. We just need to add to it and polish some of these function buttons right here. One other thing I'd like to show you, though, deals with the contracts. So let me go into here real quick, and we'll manage this ones. Now, we talked a lot last week about making different contract types. So either the pay-per-call contracts or the outright purchases or just the normal ones that's based off of rooms or the ones where you set a price for it. I haven't started making those options and changes yet, but one thing I have done is I've added items to the contracts, which I know was a big deal that we talked about. And items are going to be added directly to the hotels that are tied to the contract. So instead of adding items to the contract, you add items to the hotels within the contract. So one, that lets us get a total count for the contract and see exactly how many we're providing for that. But it also lets us break it out per hotel. So if you want to see, for example, what items does the Burkewood Inn have, what is it getting? Same thing with the MGM Grand Detroit. And it will also let us do reporting later on, based on, we can do a total item count for a hotel or for a contract or for anything like that. So to add items here, you see we've got a new column right in the middle here. You just click the plus button to add any new ones. We pick from our list right here, and these are all items that are set up in the item manager on the main admin page. Excuse me. So what we'll do is we will add in, especially before we go live, we'll add in all of your items and their prices and everything like that so that you can start using them like this. But basically right here, you would pick your items. So let's say that they got the 10x5 stands, and we're going to add, 60 of them. And if there's a shipping price right here, we can add that in there. And any notes that you want to add to the item, like they need their phone number on the back. So anything like that you want to add in about that, save it right there. And now you'll see it shows up right here. We've got 10x5 stands, quantity 60. We can click to edit that if we want to, or we can click and delete it if we don't want that on there anymore. And we can add more items. So the really great thing about this setup here is that we can add as many different items to a hotel in a contract as we want to. So let's say that they get the 60 10x5 stands. Let's say that they get key cards, and we're going to give them 150 key cards with, $10 of shipping, and save. The shipping price does nothing in here. It's purely for cataloging this for later. It doesn't add any money to the contract, but we're going to use that in other reporting instances. But now you can see here that we've got these items added directly to this hotel. So that's exactly how you'll add items now within the contract. And like I said, we've got a very similar thing for when you're adding them in a workflow. And all those things are going to be added together when we do our total count. All right. I believe that's all that I had to show you for now. Like I said, in this upcoming week, I'm going to continue to polish those info pages, and I'm also going to make our different contract types so that we can deal with contracts that are pay per call or that aren't based on the rooms or that are based on the rooms. So yeah, I will send you another update once we've got that done. I hope you guys are testing the system and just trying it out and doing different things with it. If you ever have any questions about anything you come across, or you've got feedback, hey Bill, this would be great to see in here, please just let me know. Like, this is your site, so I'm gonna, we will make it to your specifications. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good rest of the day, and hope you had a good Memorial Day weekend. And yeah, let me know if there's anything else I can do for you. Thanks. Bye.